So this piece was born out of interesting conversations with Eliot, especially about our shared love for the culture of Southern United States and for the musical traditions of the African diaspora in general and the really strong emotions that it carries. And we thought it would be interesting to explore the idea of writing a guitar concerto based on this underlying inspiration, which is, I believe, a first of its kind. And here we are, almost 2 years after its first inception, just finished recording it, so definitely a dream come true for me and hopefully for Eliot as well.
So we've just finished recording for the first time in a professional way this still new concerto by Giovanni Piacentini, whom I met by chance years ago in a restaurant in Roma. And it developed over the years, and we stayed in touch on and off, and then finally the opportunity arose for Giovanni to compose this beautiful and special, interesting concerto for me. And we had a great deal of fun talking about the directions it might go, and found that we shared a great love and appreciation for the African diaspora as present in our country. And I've noticed, as someone who's lived in many different countries and over the course of my lifetime, I always know that in a way the African Americans are the soul of our country. It doesn't matter what race you are. They've given us a lot of our best music, a lot of our best dance, a lot of our best everything, really. So this was always something I always wanted to incorporate into my music. Occasionally I had the pleasure of collaborating with African-American colleagues like the Harlem Quartet or the great experimental jazz drummer Ronald Shannon Jackson, who passed away a few years ago. So I always had this in the back of my mind, and I always tried to get somebody to write me a work that would celebrate this relationship that was so important and remains so important to my being. And little did I expect that an Italian-Mexican composer would be the one to achieve that. We were talking about what tune or what rhythm or whatever. And Giovanni, of course, has this tremendous rhythmic sense, very subtle, very developed rhythmic sense. But also I thought it would be great to have one of the spirituals. And the spirituals all touch any of us who hear them. But particularly Swing Low, Sweet Chariot to me is just certainly one of my favorites. Giovanni actually took a very joyous take on it in the first movement. And I was involved in writing the big cadenza in the first movement. And I thought it would be so cool to bring in Swing Low, Sweet Chariot and to bring it home in an unusual key, B-flat major, not a typical guitar key. But I think it's very nicely placed. Hope Giovanni agrees when it comes in the cadenza. Another aspect of the African American experience in America, of course, was the civil rights movement, which had many incarnations, and perhaps the most successful, the one that was led by Dr. King for the 12 years of his glorious career as an activist. And we forget that, of course, there were so many African American martyrs, but there were some white people of good conscience as well. A white American woman of Italian descent, Viola Liuzzo, was one of the martyrs of the civil rights movement. She was driving an African American to register to vote in Mississippi, and the Ku Klux Klan pulled up right next to her, the road, shot her dead. She went off the road, and the African American who was next to her in the front seat played dead, and somehow the Klan didn't kill him. But she was one of the early martyrs, and she was a mother, I think 4 or 5 children, had gone down to Mississippi to work in the freedom movement and was martyred for the cause there. So Giovanni's slow movement is a wonderful tombeau to Viola Liuzzo, and I think a beautiful kind of way to pay tribute to one of the righteous few who also gave their lives in the service to the attempt to bring some justice into our American political system. And I think that's a very, very, very touching moment in the concerto. particularly when the beautiful theme is recapitulated, and it kind of probably the climactic moment of the entire work in the slow movement. And then that slow movement is followed by a devil's rag, which is a very wild movement. Giovanni really found some interesting new space for the classical guitar in that movement. So it's been great to work on it and try and solve some of its mysteries and challenges on the classical guitar.
And stemming off of that, I think Eliot's instinct to take this theme, this topic, as inspiration for the concerto is, at least in my humble opinion, one of the first of its kind in terms of guitar concerti. So I was super happy to embark on this wonderful adventure, and something that I like to always say, because it's sort of like a very meaningful coincidence or anecdote for me, is the fact that Manuel M. Ponce, a famous Mexican composer, originally wrote his Concierto del Sur for Andrés Segovia, great grandfather of the classical guitar, or the father of the classical guitar. And here I am, another Mexican-born composer, now writing a guitar concerto for Eliot Fisk, who was Segovia's last disciple. So I think that's a really beautiful sort of circle closure to this experience of this guitar concerto.